There's this weird disconnect happening right now. We have
Yeah.
these tools where, it's like God mode access to code, right?
Over God, no.
You can just speak an application into existence. Everyone can do it.
Right.
But then you look at the actual bank accounts of the people building this stuff.
And it's crickets.
It's a ghost town. It's like poverty mode for developers who have these godlike powers.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's the difference between physics and economics. The physics of software has become, frictionless.
Yeah.
But the economics of a real business, that's actually gotten harder. The gap between I built this and I sold this is, well, it's a canyon now.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is Friday, January 23rd, 2026.
Stay there.
And today we are looking at a draft post from AI Fire, which is hosted on Robin's Hive, and it's connected to TG Group International.
Okay.
And it's really a snapshot of the industry right now. The title is, Everyone Can Create an App with AI Now. Why Almost None of Them Make Money.
Wow. That is a heavy title.
It is. And we're gonna dismantle it. We'll look at the everyone part first, this huge supply shock.
Right.
Then we're gonna get into the almost none part, the graveyard of all these failed projects.
The hard reality.
And then finally, we'll get into the specific traps the source talks about and, how to actually generate revenue. Because the source claims it is possible.
If you stop acting like a coder.
And start acting like a business.
Exactly. It's about moving from hello world to hello payroll.
Yes, exactly. So let's start there with that first premise. Everyone can create. The source puts a lot of weight on this idea of democratization, but I want to push back on it just a little. When they say everyone, are we talking about just more engineers, or is this literally my accountant, my teenage nephew?
No, it's literally everyone. That's what the source is getting at. The barrier to entry for creating software has dropped to, effectively zero.
Okay.
It used to be syntax, right? You had to Python and React or AWS. Now, the barrier is just natural language. If you can clearly say what you want, the AI can write the syntax for you.
But does that really result in good software? Or does it just create a whole lot of noise?
Well, that's the key, isn't it? It results in volume. We're seeing a Cambrian explosion of apps.
Yeah.
But the source points out that because creation is so easy, the actual value of creation has plummeted.
Right.
Think about it like photography. In 1850, if you took a photo, you're basically a wizard.
Sure.
Today, every single one of us has a 4K camera in our pocket. So we have billions of photos, but very few professional photographers making a real living from it.
So code has just become a commodity.
Code is now as cheap as English text. And that triggers a supply shock in the market. If I can build a calorie tracker in an afternoon, guess what?
10,000 other people can too.
And they will. They already have.
And that's where the economics get really messy, right? Because if you have 10,000 calorie trackers,
then the price of a calorie tracker goes straight to zero. Or the cost to get a customer, your CAC, it just goes through the roof.
Can you explain that mechanism? Why does easy coding make it so expensive to get customers?
It's all about the noise. If you launch your app on Product Hunt today, you're not competing with 5 other apps. You're competing with 500.
Wow.
And they all look good. They all have a nice UI because guess what? The AI built that too.
Right.
So to stand out from that crowd, you have to spend money on ads, on influencers, whatever. And suddenly your $5 subscription app costs you $50 in marketing just to get one single user.
And the math just breaks.
It breaks instantly. The source is basically hinting that this everyone can create idea. It's actually a trap.
A trap. How so?
It feels empowering, Wow, I'm a creator. But from an economic standpoint, you're just entering a hypersaturated market with zero differentiation.
It kind of reminds me of the dropshipping craze from a few years ago.
Yes.
Everyone could set up a store, but almost nobody had a brand.
It is exactly like dropshipping. We are basically dropshipping software now.
So accessibility doesn't guarantee utility.
No, accessibility guarantees competition.
Which leads us right into the brutal second half of that headline. Why almost none of them make money.
Yeah.
The source is so explicit, it's not some fail, it's almost none.
And almost none is the statistic that really matters here.
So why is it this bad? Is it just a competition we were talking about? Or is there something, technically wrong with what people are building? The source mentions common traps.
It's mostly technical, but maybe not in the way you think. It's what people call the wrapper trap.
Okay, define that for us. We hear wrapper thrown around as like an insult on tech Twitter, but what is it mechanically?
Mechanically, a wrapper is just a thin user interface, a website or an app that just passes the user's request to a big model like GPT-4 or Claude. It gets the answer back and then just shows it to the user. You aren't doing the thinking. The AI is. You're just the middleman.
But wait, isn't every AI app technically using these models? And unless you're Google, you're going to be compiling an API.
Yes, of course. But there's a huge difference between using a model and relying on it entirely.
Okay.
The trap the source identifies is when your core value proposition is just the model's intelligence. If your app is write better emails with AI, and all you do is send the prompt, rewrite this email to OpenAI, you don't have a product.
You just have a feature.
You have a toll booth on a road that is completely free to walk on.
Because I can just go to ChatGPT myself and ask it to rewrite the email for free.
Exactly. And this leads to insane churn rates. People sign up for your magic email writer, they use it for a month, and then they realize, wait a second, I can just do this in the sidebar of my browser, and they cancel.
I actually have a confession to make here.
Oh no. Did you build a wrapper?
I did. About 6 months ago, I really thought it was genius. It was a dream interpreter. You type in your dream, and it gives you this Freudian analysis.
Okay. I'm listening.
The UI was beautiful, you know, Mid-Journey made the background art. I hooked it up to the API. I put it out there.
And let me guess, you got a big spike of traffic on day 1.
A huge spike. Everyone loves talking about their dream.
And on day 30.
0. An absolute 0. And I was left holding a bill for the API usage that was way higher than the subscription revenue I brought in.
That is the textbook definition of the almost none problem. You had fun, you had engagement, but you didn't have a business.
It was a novelty toy.
A novelty toy.
Yeah, it hurt, honestly. But reading the source, it seems like this is a structural problem. It's not just me being a bad founder.
No, not at all.
The source suggests that most of these everyone apps are just features in disguise.
They're features waiting to be Sherlocked.
Sherlock.
It's an old term from the Apple world.
Yeah.
It means when the platform like Apple or OpenAI releases your cool feature as a native part of their system.
Ah.
So if you build a PDF summarizer app and then Apple adds Summarize to the right-click menu in their OS, you're dead overnight.
So that's the platform risk trap.
It's a massive risk.
Yes.
The source implies that relying on just the creation part, the fact that you make code, is a trap because the platforms are moving faster than you ever could. They will eat all the low-hanging fruit.
So if functionality isn't a differentiator anymore and novelty just wears off in a month, why is anyone making money? Because the headline says almost none. That implies someone is.
Someone is. But they're not playing the same game as everyone else.
Technical success
is distinct from economic viability.
So let's get to the solution. The source's subtitle promises how to avoid the common traps and build AI apps that turn into real revenue.
Real revenue. I love that phrase. Not vanity metrics, not signups, cash.
Right. We've identified a couple of traps, the wrapper trap, the platform risk trap. What does the source say we should do instead? What's the counter strategy?
The counter strategy is vertical integration and proprietary context.
Okay, you got to unpack that. Those are some serious MBA buzzwords.
Fair enough. Let's strip out the jargon. Vertical integration just means you don't solve the writing part or the coding part. You solve the entire problem for a very specific person.
Give me a concrete example, not a generic one.
Okay, don't build AI for lawyers. That's way too broad. That's a wrapper.
Okay.
Instead, build an AI tool specifically for patent attorneys in the biotech sector that automatically pulls data from the U.S. Patent Office database, cross-references it with FDA clinical trial results, and then drafts the specific filing document they need.
That sounds incredibly boring.
It is incredibly boring. And that is exactly why it makes money. It's boring, it's hard to build, and ChatGPT cannot do it out of the box.
Why not?
Because ChatGPT doesn't have live access to those specific databases or that very specific workflow.
So the moat, the defense against all that competition, it's the boring integration part.
The moat is the last mile. The AI models, they do the first 80%. The reasoning, the writing, but that last 20%, connecting to the legacy database, formatting the weird government form, knowing the specific legal jargon, that is where the real revenue lives.
It really seems like the source is guiding us away from B2C, business to consumer, and much more toward B2B.
Oh, heavily. The everyone market is just a race to the bottom on price. Consumers want things for free, or maybe 99 cents.
Right.
But a business, if you can save that patent attorney 5 hours a week, every week, they will happily pay you $500 a month for that.
And that totally changes the math on the customer acquisition cost we talked about earlier.
Completely. You don't need 1 million users. You might only need 50.
So another trap to avoid is maybe the low price trap.
Yes. If you're charging $5 a month, you are signaling to the world that you are a commodity. If you solve a painful, expensive problem, you should be charging enterprise rates. The source hints that real revenue comes from high-value problems, not high-volume users.
It's a huge shift from being a tool maker to being a solution provider.
Right. Think of it like services software. You're not selling a chatbot. You're selling completed compliance audits.
Ah.
Your client doesn't care if it's AI or a room full of monkeys, as long as the audit gets done correctly.
That is a crucial distinction. Selling the outcome, not the tech.
Precisely. The trap is falling in love with the AI. The revenue comes from falling in love with your client's headache.
But wait a minute, doesn't this kind of contradict the everyone can create part? This sounds like you need serious domain expertise now. I can't just go build a patent tool if I don't know anything about patent law.
And there it is. That's the whole paradox. Everyone can write the code, but only someone truly understands the problem.
I see.
The value has shifted away from knowing how to code to knowing what to build.
So the teenager in the bedroom isn't going to disrupt an industry unless that teenager also happens to be a world-class expert in supply chain logistics.
Or unless they partner with one. The tech is the easy part now. The domain expertise, that's the gold.
So, probing question then. What defines real revenue in this new landscape?
Real revenue is the receipt you get for solving a problem that is too complex for a generic prompt to fix.
So avoiding traps.
It's about ignoring the hype and focusing on the boring, messy work of integration.
We're going to take a very short break, but when we come back, we are going to synthesize all this. We've told you what not to do. Don't build a wrapper. Don't rely on hype. We want to leave you with a final checklist for your next project. We are back on the deep dive. We've been tearing apart this draft from AI Fire about the paradox of AI apps easy to build, but almost impossible to sell.
It's really the story of 2026 so far, isn't it?
It really is. So let's bring this all home with a big idea recap. We've covered a lot of ground, but if you're listening to this and you have an idea in your head, what is the synthesis? What's the main takeaway?
I think the synthesis is that the era of the tech founder is evolving. It's becoming the era of the product strategist.
Meaning what exactly?
Meaning that building is no longer the bottleneck. That problem is basically solved. The new bottlenecks are distribution and differentiation.
Okay, so we talked about the wrapper trap.
Right. Don't just build a thin layer over an API.
And we talked about the platform risk.
Yeah, don't build something that OpenAI is just going to release as a feature next Tuesday.
And we talked about real revenue coming from that vertical integration.
Go deep, not wide. Find a niche that is boring, unsexy, and full of money.
It feels like the source is kind of telling us to grow up, in a way.
Yeah.
That the playground phase of AI is over.
The toy phase is over.
Yeah.
The tool phase is here. And tools need to work reliably every single time. They can't hallucinate. They can't break when an API changes.
You know, it's funny. We started this whole deep dive talking about how everyone can create.
Yeah.
But by the end of it, it feels like we've narrowed the field down considerably. Everyone can create code, but very, very few people can create businesses.
And that's the filter. The code is democratic. But business survival is still very much meritocratic.
So here's my final thought for you, if you're listening right now. Maybe you have that IDE open. Maybe you have a cursor blinking on a prompt.
Or maybe you're just looking at your Stripe dashboard and wondering why it still says 0.
The source material really challenges you to ask a hard question. Are you building this because it's cool tech? Or are you building this because it solves a problem so painful that someone will hand you their credit card before you even finish describing the feature?
Do you have a customer or do you just have a compiler?
If you just have a compiler, you're in the everyone camp. If you have a customer, you just might be one of the few who make money.
Go find the customer first. The code can wait.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you next time.